Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm doing a little sightseeing today in the neighborhood that I was born in. Okay, so this is the Grand Army Plaza here, a monument it says to the defenders of the Union, 1861 to 1865. Behind me over here is Prospect Park, a beautiful park. Spent the day walking through that. And over there we got the Brooklyn Public Library, beautiful building. And behind that is the Brooklyn Museum. But anyway, I want to talk to you guys today about the true cost of the American Civil War. Okay, so a lot of times people will point to how many men died and how much property was destroyed, but the true cost of the Civil War was that it kind of terminated or stifled our manifest destiny as Thomas Jefferson had conceived it. And I don't remember exactly where I read it, but a lot of times when people think of manifest destiny, which is basically the kind of like the natural expansion of the United States, they think it was just coast to coast, East Coast to West Coast, and that's not the case at all. From what I've heard, Thomas Jefferson's concept of manifest destiny was not only coast to coast, but it was also pole to pole. Okay, they made an attempt to conquer Canada during the War of 1812. They came up with a whole bunch of excuses to basically to have that war against the fingers in a way. They came up with a whole bunch of excuses of why that war would be a good idea. They pointed to the British basically kidnapping American merchant sailors and forcing them into service on the British naval ships. But the real reason, right, the real incentive was because the first thing they did is they charged straight up to Canada with the intention of conquering Canada. Okay, now it didn't go very well for them. They got pushed back. They just weren't ready for that kind of a war. But then they just started, kind of expanding towards the. They started expanding towards the west, and then towards the south. All right, all the way down into Texas, in California, west of California, basically pushing into the Mexican territories, basically. And they weren't going to stop there, right? The goal was not to stop at Texas. The goal was to go all the way down. Definitely to Central America, and from there, push further down into, all the way down to Argentina. Okay, now the way Thomas Jefferson had envisioned it, he didn't think it would just be one giant United States, and the reason was because in his time, the railroads and the telegraph had not been invented yet. In fact, even when he was thinking, he never envisioned the United States even coast to coast. He envisioned it as a bunch of sister republics. Okay, so basically, there would have been, let's say, the United States, and then all the other republics. The way he envisioned it, they probably would have combined into maybe a greater United States of, I don't know, small republics or something. But that's how he had envisioned it. So anyway, that is the true cost of the Civil War. Basically it because of the infighting, the southern expansion was halted, and it was halted in the years leading up to the Civil War, because the problem was every time a state would, they would try to bring a state into the Union, it would bring up this debate of whether it was going to come in as a free state or a slave state, and that created a whole bunch of conflict. And I think they had like a mini Civil War out in Kansas. They referred to it as Bleeding Kansas. So that was kind of like a prelude to the coming Civil War. But anyway, the true cost of the American Civil War, it kind of stifled Thomas Jefferson's vision of manifest destiny, which was not just coast to coast, but also pole to pole. Thanks for watching. Drop some comments if you guys have any additional information, or if you want to correct me on any errors I might have made in this, right? Because a lot of this stuff is kind of like stuff I've picked up over the years. So maybe there's an error somewhere in there. So by all means, drop some comments. and I'll talk to y'all soon.